Things I wish I knew in my 20s. Imagine doing something consistently for the past 10 years. Just imagine what would have happened, what would have, the amount of mastery you would have gotten at that point. Oh my God, I wish I knew that early. People have their preferences, they have their biases, they have their likes and dislikes, and it has nothing to do with you. So you should never take it personal. So pressure is good, pushing yourself is good, but just know that fairly enough in your 20s, one of the greatest things expected of you is. So it took me time to realize that you may be gifted, you may be talented, you may be skilled. I've never, ever, 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 ever seen a successful person that never failed if you never tried. Someone once said, what if it doesn't work? Then someone said, what if it works? It means you never know how much you may succeed. Oh my God, I can't even overemphasize this. You don't know how much your life will change when you get toxic people away from your space. Toxic people should never have your space. You cannot journey further, you cannot journey further, you cannot journey far with toxic people. Whether they are speaking verbally or they are just hosting and housing it in their hearts is a blockage. One of the major ways your life will 10x, 100x, your life will multiply if you become very deliberate with your relationships and get people who are not for you. Just get them off the way. There is no need pretending. There is no need trying to be diplomatic. We're not all going in the same direction. It's fine. In a world full of confusion, pressure, and distractions, we help create content that gives clarity, direction, and practical wisdom that you can apply in your everyday life. So if you're a young person out there trying to figure out life, build a future, and stay grounded in God, then you're in the right place. Welcome once again to the podcast. Hello, family. Welcome, welcome, welcome to our channel, to our podcast. I call it our podcast because it's all of us that have it. It's for all of us. I want to always thank you again for watching, for subscribing, for sharing with your community, for sharing with your friends, for sharing with family. And thank you once again. We want to go right into it today and continue from where we had stopped last week. And basically, what we were talking about last week was things I wish I knew in my 20s. And part of the things we've spoken majorly about 4 things. And I just want to add to them maybe 3 more things on things I wish I knew in my 20s. Now, just for the sake of recap, part of what we have said so far is number one, things I wish I knew in my 20s. I wish I had better social skills. Not like I'm regretting anything I had done in my 20s. Like I said, I had a fairly good 20s. It was just there. It's not like it was great, great, great. It's not like it was bad, bad, bad. But it was there. I was more like this nerd. I read a lot in my 20s, but adding to that, like I said, I wish I had better social skills because the moment I started maturing, I started seeing the importance of social skills. Another thing I will spoke about again as touching things I wish I knew in my 20s was I wish I had decided early the thing I wanted to do with life as touching my finances. That was a very, very critical point for me. Like I said, imagine doing something consistently for the past 10 years. Just imagine what would have happened, what would have, the amount of mastery you would have gotten at that point. Things I wish I knew in my 20s. The third thing we talked about last week about the things I wish I knew in my 20s was not everybody's going to like you. Oh my God, I wish I knew that early. Not everybody was going to like you. And this is not because they hate you either. It's just the way life is. People have their preferences, they have their biases, they have their likes and dislikes. And it has nothing to do with you. So you should never take it personal. It's just based on how they were raised, the things they've seen growing up, or the things they've liked all along. And sometimes you may not fit into that box, and there's nothing wrong with that. There are 1,000 boxes you can fit in. You don't have to judge yourself by just one box or a few boxes that you don't fit into. There are 1,000 more you can fit in. So I wish I knew that also. The fourth thing we spoke about last week about the things I knew in my 20s or on the last episode was simply that there is no pressure to life. You're not going to make all your money in your 20s. You would have just taken your time to just learn and never put pressure on myself. So pressure is good, pushing yourself is good, but just know that fairly enough in your 20s, one of the greatest things expected of you is learning. Just learn the best you can, so that when you enter into those ending years, it becomes a manifestation of the things you have basically would have learned so far. So that's where we stopped in the very last episode. So we want to get into it again. Three more things I wish I knew in my 20s. So let's get right into it. So three more things I wish I knew in my 20s. And the first one in this episode, or what we'll call the fifth one in the whole series, will be that I wish I had mentorship relationships early. I wish I had people ahead of me who, in the things I wanted to do, in the things I wanted to execute myself in, I wish I had people who had gone ahead of me early. And I wish I had those relationships established. You know, there is this tendency to want to do life alone. And I tell you, this was installed in us basically, majorly, by our schooling system. Majorly our schooling system. Our schooling system has been designed in such a way where individuality and independence is what or is what strive, and there is nothing wrong with that. There is nothing wrong with that. There's nothing. I understand where you're coming from, but if you carry that mindset into life, life is about partnerships. Great things happens because of partnerships. Have you ever seen a very great company that never had a co-founder? Think about it. Whether it's Apple, whether it's Microsoft, whether it's Nvidia, call them, call them. You rarely, if not, you may never even find any great company that never has a co-founder. So it took me time to realize that you may be gifted, you may be talented, you may be skilled, you need partnerships. And one of those great partnership relationships you need is a mentorship relationship. I can't overemphasize that. Somebody once said there are two ways to learn, or there are basically two ways to learn. It's either you learn from your own mistakes or you learn from other people's mistakes. And you see, mentorship takes away from you that pain of learning from your own mistakes. So that's another great thing I wish I knew in my 20s. I would have, if I was to go back again, I would have sought out for people who are in the space of the things I wanted to do, and deliberately by myself, with my own hands, by my own self, create those relationships with them. Mentorship is critical. In the Christian space, what we call it is discipleship is critical. It's very critical to anything you want to do in life. You must have relationships with people who have gone ahead in those things. Learn from them and just glean from them. Someone once quoted, he said, "If I have seen any further, it was because I stood on the shoulders of them who had gone ahead of me." I would not have done things very independently. I would have focused on building not just social skills in relationships, but I would have focused on building relationships with those who are ahead. I wish I discovered that early. Now I'm trying in it. Now I'm doing better in it. Now I'm fairly trying in those areas, but I wish I found it earlier. Having mentorship relationships. And the second thing I want to talk about in this series quickly is just hold on. Is this one is on everybody. It's I would never have been scared of failure. Oh my God, I can't overemphasize that. I would never have been scared of failure. I would I would just do the best I can and do the things I really wanted to do without the fear of failing. I wish I knew this in my 20s. I wish I knew that in my 20s, you are you are fairly young. You have the time ahead of you to make the mistakes you ought to make. Like I said to you the last time, I've never, ever, 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 ever seen a successful person that never failed. Never, ever, ever, never one time. Because, like I said, I'll be holding with us a podcast called the School of Failure, because failure is supposed to be a learning curve. Failure is supposed to be finding out 100 reasons, 1,000 reasons why a particular thing, a particular way, a particular process, a particular means is not working. It's not supposed to be a death sentence. No. So I wish I knew that earlier. I would have not waited for things to be perfect before moving. I would not have waited for things to be great, for the possibilities of not failing before moving, because you see, but the challenge you will have by the time you are scared of failing is that you will also be scared of trying, and you'll never know how much you can get or how much you can succeed if you never try. If you never tried. Someone once said, what if it doesn't work? Then someone said, what if it works? What if I fail? What if you succeed? So if you can just see the whole pattern there, the whole chain there. So if you never try, if you're scared of failure, it means you never try. If you never try, it means you never know how much you may succeed. And it means that you will just be at a spot for a long time. I would never have sought for perfection. I would have just sorted for action, for execution, for doing things, for getting it right. I would have just sorted for those things. Instead of waiting, sitting, and wishing that I would have just gone for it. So, the second thing I wish I knew in my 20s in this episode, or also the sixth thing I wish I knew in my 20s, was never be scared of trying, never be scared of failure. You have a fairly, it's not going to be like that all the time, but you have a fairly good amount of time ahead of you to learn, relearn, unlearn, to make your mistakes and move. Never be scared of failure. Okay, third thing I wish I knew in my 20s in this episode. Third thing I wish I knew in my 20s, and that will be like the seventh thing I wish I knew in my 20s. I would never, ever have tolerated toxic people around me. Oh God, I would never, ever have tolerated toxic people around me. The moment someone is not supporting your vision, I like what Jesus said. Jesus once said to the Pharisees when they said to him, he tried casting out a devil once, and the Pharisees came to him and says that he is casting out devils by Beelzebub, which being the prince of demons. And he said they had a whole conversation of a house divided itself will not stand. Da 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 da. And Jesus made a very critical statement. He said, "He that is not gathering with me, he's scattering." Very critical. Notice, it did not say, "He that is not gathering with me," or if you are scattering me. No, he said, if automatically you're not gathering with me, there are no middle grounds. It means you are just scattering what I'm gathering. So there are persons in your life who, if they are not encouraging you, it's only correction they bring when you make a fault. Now, don't get me wrong, there are certain persons who or there are certain people who would be in your life and God will put in your life as gathering, so that you don't fall off, you know. And but there is a heart and a wisdom for that. There are certain people who they've never ever encouraged you. They I used to have this friend. He talks you down, then he makes it a joke. Like a joke now. Why do you joke with toxic things? Why don't you ever joke with good things? And many times because I was fairly young, I didn't want to offend people. I'll just be like, okay. What that does is that it saps out your energy, even without you knowing. You don't know how, oh my God, I can't even overemphasize this. You don't know how much your life will change when you get toxic people away from your space. I'm not talking about toxic people who just verbally they accuse you, they abuse you, they talk down on you, they assault you. No, not just that. There are even people who their hearts, their emotions, their soul, their will, their energy, their good thoughts is not with you. And we are humans, you can feel it. And it's stronger when you're born again. You can sense it when you're born again. Because at that point, definitely the human spirit is recreated. So it has the ability and the sensory perception, same as the what the regenerated spirit will give. And by the housing of the Holy Ghost there, it is far more sensitive. So you know that these guys, you just know. And when you perceive such things, I've learned from experience, don't go and ask them. Everybody goes into denial when you ask. They'll be like, how can you even say that? Just don't ask. Pray about it. Take a decision. Cut them off. Toxic people should never have your space. You cannot journey farther. You cannot journey further. You cannot journey far with toxic people. Whether they are speaking verbally or they are just hosting and housing it in their hearts is a blockage. One of the major ways your life will 10x, 100x, your life will multiply if you become very deliberate with your relationships and get people who are not for you. Just get them off the way. There is no need pretending. There is no need trying to be diplomatic. We're not all going in the same direction. It's fine. Not everybody wakes up one day and says that we are going to Makodi, or we are going to Kaduna, or we're going to Lagos, or we're going to Abuja, or we're going to London, or we're going to the US. Not everybody just wakes up and go in one direction. It's fine. I want you to understand that, you see, life it's greatly influenced by choices and wills. Even God knows this. You've seen people ask, if God knows the end from the beginning, why did he allow Adam and Eve sin in the garden? It's because life is largely governed by wills and choices. It's the way he had made it. It is fine for you to choose something, and it is fine for another to choose something else. It's life. Life is governed primarily by choices and wills. So the moment you can choose your thing over there and keep doing your thing, I pray for you, I bless you. I can choose my thing over here and keep doing my thing. That does not mean we're quarreling. It's an alignment of vision, goals, purposes, and assignment. If someone is not for you, if someone is not 100% for you, they don't believe in what you stand for, they don't believe in what you believe for, it's not quarrel. Go your separate ways so that you can have enough energy to do the things you really believe in. So really, that you just have that energy. So that's it. Things I wish I knew in my 20s. Those are the 7 things I wish I knew in my 20s. If I kind of remember anyone again, then I'll bring it up to us. It's a community. I'll share with us, and we'll just talk about it. So you can comment below on your own things you wish you knew in your 20s, and let's have a lively conversation on this podcast. So do it to share with your friends, do it to share with your family, do it to share with the community, do it to share with someone out there who you believe they need this podcast. So like I said again, comment down below on the things you also wish you knew in your 20s. And maybe when I read down the comments, I would see something I like and just pour it into a conversation that we can have. Thank you again for watching. See you when I see you. Cheers.